Previously on your favorite episode.
You should understand me like I understand you.
She can't go to Florida. I'm in Florida.
Well, if you don't know me, you will never know me. Ooh. No, you won't.
Welcome back. I'm Mickey, the editor of Your Favorite Episode. The conversation with Tara Lee Cavanagh regarding the Office UK Christmas special was about a two-parter, and the conversation ran very long, so we decided to cut this into two parts and make our show a two-parter. So sit back and enjoy part 2 of the Office UK Christmas special.
TV rots your brains.
That's absurd. TV only softens the brain like a ripe banana.
Television. Much of our future depends on the way we use this medium of communication.
So let's go on to the next part. So we're there. We meet David. David is now basically trying to make being David Brent a thing.
Yeah, you find out that he has a certain modicum of fame. If he is not recognized, he will tell you who he is. And then to supplement, and he's now doing the kinds of gigs that, sort of D-listers and reality stars do, which is like club appearances. I love the club appearance that is just straight up. Oh my God. When I moved here, there were billboards everywhere like, come see Pauly D from Jersey Shore DJing in Vegas at fucking Dow or whatever. I was like, wow, this is welcome to LA. Here we are.
Well,
people really do it.
Well, we used to have my favorite was in Orlando when we would get the people who it was an appearance. When Paris Hilton opened her club in Orlando.
Oh my God. And she was like 7 hours late for that fucking
7 hours
opening.
late. She goes straight into the VIP room, doesn't talk to anyone, doesn't see anybody the whole time she's here, and then leaves.
Yeah.
Came back, I think, one other time in the 4-month existence of that club.
Very timely. Also early aughts, which has come back now. Y2K is back.
Right. Yeah. But so that's David now is just doing the show up.
Yeah,
and
David's
I say
doing
I'm
these.
David Brent.
Yeah, David's doing these appearances. To supplement his income, he's also back in sales. He's going from office to office in his car selling office cleaning supplies. And we see him, doing both. We find out that he not only took his severance package, his redundancy package, but then sued Warnham Hogg, the paper company he formerly worked for, and actually got a settlement. And he spent it all on starting his own record company and producing his own music video, which is just a cover of If You Don't Know Me By Now. And it's so typical of the time of just him in a warehouse with 1 or 2 pieces of furniture, billowing linen curtains.
Drapes.
Yeah. And a woman throwing her hands up and they're breaking up. I can't with you anymore. And it's so fucking funny because he's unfuckable.
I was just like,
sorry.
When the video started, I was thinking, they're going to do the Family Guy thing. It's just going to go on for a long time. I was amazed that they did the whole song, and I was amazed that it was funny pretty much the whole time. It's so genuinely perfectly bad. But we're on the special. David has released this single that did not do well and is trying to get around and be somebody.
Did not put up numbers.
Well received. I love the dating show, or was that the dating game?
Yeah, the dating game thing that he does
with other reality stars.
Yeah, one of the guys is the equivalent of, I guess, the American version of the Allstate guy, except that guy actually does have a movie career, but he's a guy that does commercials for a mortgage company. And then the other guy was on Big Brother.
I looked him up because I was curious. His name
Bubbles?
is Bubbles. He was on series 2 of Big Brother, and he is famous for falling over a couch.
Okay.
And there you go.
Yeah.
And he's doing club appearances with David Brent from the
Okay.
paper company.
Yeah,
TV show.
exactly. Yeah, that's how that winds up working out there. So then we also catch up with Tim.
Yes.
Tim is still in the same desk.
He sure is. Poor Tim, still complacent, still going through it, except now from his own doing, from his own recommendation, his nightmare, Gareth is now his boss.
Right.
And Gareth is one of those guys who's like the worst type of nerd, the military nerd. The guy that's like obsessed with rank and order and bullshit like that. And he's also like not really in like the British Army. He's in like, I think what's the equivalent of for us, like the reserves.
The reserve. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and takes it like super, super, super seriously. But like just from his body type alone, you can tell that he would be fucking worthless. Like there's nothing.
Right.
He's not contributing much.
Right.
And of course he's a taskmaster, and of course he's making everybody's life hell at the office. But Tim is still able to get one over on him and locks him in his own office.
Oh yeah. No. So again, this was me thinking like, oh, that's less of a harmless prank.
Exactly.
I've locked him in his office and he cannot get out, and I will not.
No
let
respect
him out.
for his authority.
And when the new receptionist is coming by and she's like, Can I have the keys to, he wants out of the office. And he's like, no, but it's going to be funny. Like, it's going to be funny. And you're like, what's going to be funny? And it's like, he's going to go crazy. And like, just leave him in there for a second.
Yeah. And she doesn't get, I mean, Dawn would have acted as if she couldn't hear, I imagine, or she would have played along with it. But this new girl is not. She kind of is almost like a Bizarro Dawn. She's younger. She also has like the stick straight blonde hair. She's like a Bizarro version of Dawn, but with completely devoid of like any personality.
Right. Yeah, she's just sort of there and non-involved. I did think, and I realized something later. That I had to remember that this was a different time, and it was weird remembering like how recently some things were genuinely funny to us. For example, when Dawn does show up, and we can get back to where Dawn was, but when Dawn does show up. And he and Dawn start teasing Gareth. I was a little surprised to see that it was just like straight homophobic, just 100%. The whole gag is just
that's the running
Gareth,
gag for the whole
aren't you gay
show.
And you're not saying it? Like,
yeah. They are all making him say gay stuff without him realizing what he's saying. I mean, that is one of the things that hasn't aged well. The sexism. There's an episode, the penultimate episode, the Red Nose Day episode that we talked about. Dawn, for her like charity thing, has red lipstick and has put some makeup on and looks really cute and has like a kissing booth, and so you give $1 or a quid for a kiss. And we find this is when we're introduced to Gareth's like homies, and they're fucking repulsive. It's Stephen Merchant and this other goon, and the guy comes in and is just giving her dollars and dollars and going in like an ugly open mouth way for kisses. And like that shit wouldn't even be an option today. Wouldn't even be an option.
Reminded me of the McPoyles from Always Sunny so much. Like they had to have been involved in the inspiration for the McPoyles.
I can see that. That sounds about right. Talking about that and like it was really on the second watch that I figured something out. So, who is the pregnant?
Oh, her name is Anne, and she is actually, her name is Anne, and she's a new character.
She's new to the special.
Yeah, she is like Gareth's replacement. Well, technically not Gareth's replacement. She was meant to work over in accounting and then said she couldn't stand working near Keith and the other kind of losers. So she had to get out of there. But she is one of those like completely unself-aware, self-obsessed, nothing to say. We call these people punishers because every time you start a conversation with them, it's like they're punishing you for it. And her name is Elizabeth Berrington. in real life. And her name is Anne on the show, and she played Princess Anne in Spencer. So she's still going for it.
That's very cool. So, yeah. Okay, so yes, she's there. She's basically she's sitting in the cubicle across from Jim now,
holding her
across
boobs.
from Tim. I mean,
she's very pregnant.
And she's pregnant. Yeah, she's 9 months pregnant. She apparently has kids already. And all she does is talk about.
She's the original prototype for the Karen.
Right.
She had like the UK version of the Karen haircut, which I also had when I graduated high school. I called it the Josie and the Pussycats, like Bob, where that you swept out, but it looked terrible on her. She did it, and she is one of those people that makes being pregnant and being a terrible person her entire personality.
Okay, to be fair, her whole thing in this is that she's just pretty annoying. Like she just talks forever and won't stop talking, and just again is thoroughly, and like you're saying, thoroughly unself-aware.
But I will say she does have a moment where she does reveal her cruelty and her evil, is when she's on one of those like boring diatribes where Tim is like only half listening. She's talking about how she took the kids to Euro Disney and lied about the fact that they had a terminal illness, because she's like, I'm not queuing for 40 minutes. Like, I'm not waiting in this line for 40 fucking minutes.
And why should you? And why should you?
And I told him, I said, I have a very sick boy. And he's like, so you lied about the kid being terminal? Yeah, like you lied.
I never said that, but we went straight to the front of the line. And the fun thing is that you probably skip past kids who were sick. Well, I don't care about that. I'm just not queuing for 40 minutes. And why should you?
Why should you?
Yeah. No, she is definitely, like, again, she is okay. Then we get the moment. Now, again, I'm skipping here a bit with this woman, but I want to get to this because, again, this was something that the first time I watched it, I actually didn't read it right. I thought that the point was that she was going to go take revenge on this guy. So we have the scene at the party where the guy is smoking next to her.
Oh, yeah.
And she asks him not to smoke next to her.
Yeah.
And as filthy as he can, he basically says, fuck you. I don't care about your baby. No one here cares about your baby. Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You think we care as much about your baby as you do? Just because you let some useless tosser blow his beans up your muff. Well done. Merry fucking Christmas.
You think anybody cares about your baby as much as you do?
Because
some
tosser stuffed his beans up your muff.
Merry fucking Christmas.
Merry
and blows cigarette smoke in her face.
So the way that I read this originally was, we have just had this guy in here as the ultimate asshole, as something so far above what she is, that we get to see her get this moment of actual, like, righteous anger at somebody speaking this way to her. We're kind of redeeming her as a character by doing this. The second viewing, I realized, no, this whole moment was about her getting her comeuppance. A guy smoking in her face and telling her that no one gives a fuck about her just because some guy stuffed his beans up her muff was her getting her shit. Like, that was, I was like, that is not how that scene would have been played today.
Which was a nice little seedling.
Or in America.
She gets hers, and that's like a nice little kind of foreshadowing, like, everybody's going to get what they want. Anne is going to be punished by this guy who is also there, I feel, to amplify what a fucking asshole Lee is, because Lee is cavorting with these warehouse fucking dickheads that are smoking inside. And, but I believe at the time, like, smoking was more ubiquitous. Like, smoking inside was more ubiquitous.
In Britain, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And, that's definitely a thing. And then on top of that, the, again, there is that sort of office strata that they were showing that was just the, like, there are those guys who just think we're part of this part of the office.
Yeah.
We don't really give a fuck what the lower people of the office do or think or say or whatever. I mean, Lee, for all of his or not Lee,
David Brent.
No,
Keith,
the guy who took over.
Oh, Neil.
Neil, right.
It's all one syllable.
Right. Yeah. Neil's whole, superiority to David is sort of undercut by the fact that Neil is like constantly waiting to point out his superiority to David. So they
really bring that point home. I feel like they made Neil very likable in the season 2. And even though he does eventually make David redundant and gets fed up with his shit, right. Neil really is giving David an inch and then a foot and then the whole fucking rope.
Yeah.
He really, really is trying. And he really didn't do anything besides just be handsome and likable and a cool boss.
So for example, in this, when he's like, okay, so you need 2 tickets.
He's kicking a dead horse.
Yeah, I really do want you to notice your own humiliation here. I really kind of want that to sink into you, and it hasn't sunk into you. You know,
and in a lot of the party scenes, he's coupled with Chris Finch, who is supposed to be David's best friend, who's also just a total prick.
Right.
And that kind of, I think, amplifies the fact that Neil is really not giving David a break. It's like, dude, you won. He's fired, and you told him he can't come to the office anymore.
Why hasn't it sunk in? Like, you're not a lovable loser, David. Like, you're just a shitty guy. And why won't you see it?
Yeah, Neil just won't give him a break. Once Neil has the upper hand and he's fed up, he won't give him a break.
Right. So we get into so what's happening in this special. So Tim's where he was. Gareth is the boss. David is just sort of wandering in and out of the office because he's really doesn't have anything better to do at the moment.
Yeah, nothing going on.
And they are having a Christmas party.
Yeah, so they're gearing up for their Christmas party, and David bumped into a conversation with Neil and Chris where Neil is talking about his fiance and about how he just proposed to his fiance. And David starts to boast about how he is dating around and seeing all kinds of women, which is, of course, completely not true. So Neil holds his feet to the fire and says, oh, do you need a second ticket then for one of your chicks, one of your babes to come to the Christmas party? And David is backed in a corner. And of course, he always has a choice between making the right decision and the wrong decision. Always makes the wrong decision on good faith. And I need a second ticket. Absolutely. When there is no one, which pushes us into a scene of him and Gareth in Gareth's office, which is David's old office. So that also has that layer. And they are making an online dating profile. This is not Bumble. This is not Hinge. This is not your average online dating profile. You are giving an agency your information and a photo, and then the agency will send you other people's paper profiles. And David says he has this huge choice to pick a bunch of them, but you get the first 3 free. So he's only going to go on like 3 dates.
You have no fucking idea what the original era of computer dating was. It was literally you sent in a profile and there were people there going, I don't know, this one and then this one, and then they'd send you profiles and
one picture
from these things, and then you'd have to meet that person. And to be fair, fewer dick pics. What you did have was a lot of dates, like dates with people that you didn't want to have. And as these 3 women find out about meeting David, it is just it can just be a full-on fucking nightmare the whole time you're there.
Oh yeah, and that's the setup is like, oh, we get to see David try to date now. Like, we've seen how he interacts with people that he knows very well and that he sees every single day, and the people that know him well enough to just know what to ignore and what battles to pick. But now we're gonna see him out in the wild, like fucking dating women. It's nuts. And I also will say, we have covered that, like, there's a lot of homophobic jokes. They touch on a lot of like race issues. They touch on disabilities and ableism and things like that. But all of these in context in the show are meant to always make David look like the butt of the joke.
Right.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Like the dating scene is a perfect example of when they're going through the profiles and Gareth mentions like, well, they gave you a lot of black ones.
Yeah.
And,
right,
and David's
right.
like, oh, don't be racist.
Yeah.
Don't be
He's like,
prejudiced.
black ones? Yeah, of course they're all equal because they gave you 3. Oh, that is quite a few, isn't it?
Yeah. He's like, oh, that is a lot. And then he's like, what about this one? She's smiling. He's like, yeah,
she's smiling.
one.
Friendliest.
Yeah, friendliest. Pick one to make sure you're not prejudiced.
They do definitely use that to make David bad. I mean, that's Gervais is of that school, is from the school of like, hey, you can be as awful as you want if the point is that the character is that awful.
Yeah, if you're actually like making the correct point.
Right, exactly. That's the thing that they're going for. Because of that, things like Tim making homophobic jokes at Gareth kind of came off of this way where I'm like, am I supposed to like Tim and Dawn at the end of this? Like, am I supposed to feel about them the way that I feel about David? Where I'm like, you guys are, and I kind of get the impression that in the UK office you are. Like, I kind of get the impression that what they wanted was for you to go, hey, remember, none of these people are like good people. Like, none of them are like all that great. Because again,
they're both. They're everything. Like
right.
David is insufferable at the office, and he's insufferable on these dates where he's interacting with women, and he always puts his foot in his mouth. But then in the scene after he's had a drink thrown in his face backstage at the appearance, and he's in bed drinking himself to sleep, muttering about eventually coming out on top. It is pathetic.
Yeah. They're going to realize.
Want it so bad for him. Like,
do you? I really was like, I hope you stay on that bed and suffer. But, well, no. I mean, again, I felt like narratively, that's the thing. I know that they wanted us to at least empathize, and you do empathize with him as a character as you're watching him. You're just like, yeah, he's terrible, but remember, he does feel things. This is hitting him as well, and he feels his own embarrassment. He feels these things that he tries to deflect from, obviously, and so on. But so you do, the real point of this was that they are that ultimate sort of relatable, right? We all do that. We all either talk too much or we all think that we're being funny, and then we're sticking our foot in our mouth, and we all do the thing of we think that we've developed a friendship or something with somebody, and then it's like, oh no, you're just in the office.
I totally agree with you saying with Tim and Dawn are just like absolutely psychologically terrorizing Gareth, but then Gareth will turn around and be insufferable, and then Tim will turn around and get his heart broken live on camera.
Right.
Twice.
Yeah, exactly. They're all, I mean, like, you see Gareth like be the brunt of jokes, but you also see Gareth be an insufferable dick to people, and
then there's a moment where Gareth takes a phone call on speaker. There's an episode where he's only taking calls on speakerphone, and it's annoying the shit out of everybody, and he takes a call on speakerphone, and it's this like sensual like vixen asking him if he's going to bring over sex toys, and everyone's like everyone is completely shocked. And then there are these subtle moments throughout the entire series. There's an episode where they all go clubbing together. They all go out to the one like bar, and Gareth, at the very end of the episode, you see him leave with like a couple. Like Garrett is going to be the sex pest in like the throuple or whatever. Like, so that even though Gareth is having a tough time with Tim at work, like he's fucking fine. He's also doing well in other parts of his life, Did
you get all the British references in the show when you watched it? Did the British references throw you?
The first time around, not all of them, but conveniently, when you bought the Office DVD box set, it came with a pamphlet of all of the Britishisms that they use on the show and the definitions for them, as well as a map floor plan of the actual office.
Oh wow! Okay, that's it. Yeah,
I wish I had that. I wonder if where the fuck I probably sold it. I don't know where that is.
I love the scene when they are describing what do we want to have at the Christmas party, and it's Keith who's like, girls, and they're like, well, girls will be coming, like the women of the office, and he's like, not girls who work here. other girls, pretty girls.
Yeah.
They're like, do you want us to get prostitutes for you? And he's like, well, it shouldn't cost anything. And he's like, we're not going to. He's writing that down. And Gareth is writing this down on the suggestions of things to do. And then what's the other one that he wants? Oh, what t-shirt content? What t-shirt contest? And he's like, we're not going to have. Oh, he's writing that down.
I love that was, now that I'm like watched it again, it's the seeds planted for the dysfunctional party planning committee in the American version of The Office.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so many scenes where the girls, it's all the women of The Office that are on the party planning committee, and it's always a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And this was the birth of that.
That is so fucking relatable though, dude. Do you know how many fucking office parties I had to plan because I was the only girl in the office?
Exactly.
I worked in an office once where they put me on like the committee, but it was like the way I found this out was I got called into a meeting to be told that I would have a meeting to discuss when we could schedule a meeting to start planning the party. And I'm like, what do we do here? What the fuck is the job
blow your
of
brains
this?
out.
This was in the administration at fucking Valencia, and I'm just like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing then.
Listen, this is back in the day before the workers' revolution, where people are forced to go in, forced to fill those hours from 3 to 5 with anything you can think of. Thank Christ. I have a really wonderful boss who has changed my life, and I love her so much. And she is constantly reminding me, like, Tara, you don't have to just sit here and scroll on your phone for 2 hours. If you're done at 3, go home at 3.
Go home at 3.
Oh,
you know,
amazing.
you don't need to be here. Like, I'll fucking breeze in whenever I want. As long as your work gets done, that's all I care about. And I'm like,
I had the bosses that would literally say, like, no, you're going to wait there until 5.
That is where I came from.
Control issues, severe control issues.
Control issue. You're gonna sit there until 5. You're contracted until 5. I'm paying you until 5.
A simple S&M club would have saved that person a lot.
Right. No, exactly. There's so much that we could have done.
So many memberships.
Also, just if we had shown people like how money actually moves, like you're not getting anything for those hours. There's nothing happening there that you're being paid for. I don't know what this is. I honest to God, I love that they just did the study. Where was it, Iceland or whatever, where they were like, well, we've determined that the 4-day work week is exactly like the 5-day work. Like there is no loss of productivity. There's no reason to have a 5-day work week when you can have a 4-day work week.
If anything, we're saving money on hourly custodial and electricity.
Right. That was what they said. Was they were like, yeah, we found that it's actually, cheaper and more efficient to do a 4-day work week. And what I love is that that's being treated as a shock. And I'm like, anyone who's ever worked in any fucking office knows that you could get the week down to fucking like 3 days, maybe 3 hours each day. Like, you can come in for 3 hours, hammer out everything that needs to be done, and then not touch it again for a week.
That's legitimately my life right now.
Yeah, right. Right.
Bless
it's the
you.
Best. Like, it's the best. I've worked maybe 3 hours a day.
I know.
Maybe.
I say this, I'm working
and
like harder
TV
than I've ever worked in my entire life right now. But I strongly
You're also a
believe that I'm like,
journalist.
they could get rid of most of what I do. I only need to churn out 1 story a week. You don't need 3. Like, come on, it's fine.
And you could have a blog and just monetize it. I just learned that people are still very into blogs.
Yeah.
I have a blog.
Yeah.
I have a blog. I just started blogging like sometime. I don't remember when I started, but I started telling people about it in January.
Oh, shit. Give me that.
Yeah.
Valleyofo.com.
You know what? I do remember you did say that.
That's me.
Okay. Wait. I want to put us back on track, though. We're going to get back to the special. I'm sorry to take away from the blog promo. I do want to actually get that in there, valleyofo.com. But they're going to have this party, and the big surprise of the party is that Dawn and Lee are coming back from Florida to be there. I did love the little scene where they're in the airport, and she's like, well, I wasn't sure that we were going to go back because it's 75 here in Florida. But then we found out that in Slough it's drizzling. So couldn't resist that. And but
Dawn
I do
is
love
so
the idea
funny.
of them like picturing Florida as an ideal place to be. I like the idea of Britt sitting there and going like, boy, if only I was in Florida, enjoying the sun. And you're just like, oh my God, you don't know what it is here. Like you just have no. So Dawn is coming back. Dawn and Lee are coming back. And of course, this is a big, again, it's just all it is just going, so will they, won't they this time? Like, and it's just, they're just rubbing those two things together as hard as they can. You've got Jim in the booth, or I keep doing that. Tim in the booth.
I think they actually say that it's between the end of the second season and the Christmas special is like 3 years. So Dawn and Tim, or Dawn and Lee, we find them in Tampa, and it opens with Dawn holding a baby, and you're like, oh fuck.
Right.
Like now they're never getting together because her and Lee now have a baby, and that's going to gum up the works. But you find out that it's just Lee's sister's baby. They've overstayed their visa. They're like illegal and hanging out in Florida doing odd jobs and just kind of grifting and like not really paying rent at Lee's sister's house and being a nanny for free. Dawn has crossed the globe. She's gone to the other side of the planet Earth. And in so many ways, she is still exactly where she was.
Right.
She's not an illustrator. She did not become an artist. She's still complacent. She's still absolutely miserable with this guy that is absolutely not right for her and just going through the motions of life.
Right.
She's doing the same shit.
Right.
Just in Florida with a nice tan.
Right. Exactly. Yada, yada, yada. I mean, we've been through some of what happens, but let's get to the meat of this. We basically undo the ending of season 2 here.
Yeah. So David goes on a series of dates that are just train wrecks. He insults a woman for her size, and complains that she gave a very different picture, which they showed, and she did. And then when she shows the picture David gave, it's like a headshot where he's laying, like reclining and winking, and it's a signed headshot, which I fucking love. Like, you give someone you're about to potentially date a signed headshot, give me a fucking break. And
by the way, I just want to say on this and on the David dates, we've talked a lot about the like things they do to David to make David bad, but that like, again, just sort of don't fly anymore. And this is just another one. And it's weird to think of because you would think this is still a joke, but it's really not anymore. Is just this total fat phobia thing that David has, where like the girl with the scarf who shows up and when he sees her and literally just turns around and is like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then expresses when she asks, oh, is Monkey inside? She's looking for.
No, and then that one. Yeah. The other one. Yeah. Who comes up and he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting for my blind date and I was worried for a second.
Yeah. I was worried that it was you. And she's just like, okay.
And she's like, you were worried. And he's like, but yeah, no, to the blonde one with the scarf too. He does the same thing when she comes walking up and he just, oh my God.
Yeah, and then because he can't get past that, they have a terrible time.
Right. And that's his deal. And he says he's like, you hope that she's one of the fun ones, one of the bubbly ones.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my God.
It's like you're revealing so much of David's projected insecurities. And at the same time, he is so childlike that he says he can get past it if she did have a good personality, but he lied.
He absolutely lies.
She says, so you love classical music. What kind of classical music do you like? It said on your form that you like classical music. Oh, all the hits.
All the big ones.
All the big ones.
Yeah. All the ones, And she mentions Grieg. She's like, well, I like Grieg. And he's like, well, he's not as good as Beethoven. I think it's pretty established. It's pretty accepted that Beethoven is the best. You're just like...
Just so uncomfortable. And like, again, a victim of his own making.
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And then he goes on another date with another woman and points out her necklace and then tries to give an anthropology lesson about how necklaces are worn by women to draw the men's eye down to their breasts, which reminds them of butts, because I guess back in the caveman days, we used to do you all from behind. Like, just crashes.
Which she's already explained the necklace.
Yeah, it's a necklace my dead mother gave me, and actually has to tell him, can we please stop talking about my dead mother's breast?
My dead mother's breast.
And he's just he's
on.
trying so hard, and he really thinks that he is making some kind of impression.
Right. Yeah. He thinks that he's offering something interesting. He thinks that he's offering like a factoid that is of some interest to the people that he's talking to. We get to the party and David is waiting on a date.
And Neil is continuing to be super smug and really pushing the issue. Like, oh, is your date not here? She said she'd be here at 10. It's nearly 10 right now. Like, really kind of driving the point home. And then David's date shows up and she is beautiful.
She's gorgeous.
So nice.
And not only nice, she likes David.
Yeah, well, I think as we watch them interact with each other at the party, you see that David is so beat down by the disaster appearances where people are throwing fucking water bottles at his head and he gets beer thrown on him in the green room. And his agent is really just like an agent for lookalikes, like lookalikes to show up and walk around a party.
The Michael Douglas that he has.
Yeah, he has Michael Douglas trying to find a Catherine Zeta to like get the pair going at a party.
Yeah, because otherwise right now, people don't know who he is. They just think he's some old guy at the party.
Yeah, exactly. So like David's been beat down by his situation at work, in both aspects of work. He's beat down by these dates. By the time he meets Carol, he is just kind of blown away, but that someone attractive showed up, but is also just kind of being his true self and explaining like, I get these gigs. I know everybody thinks I'm a fucking loser. I know they're all taking the piss out of me. And, you know, I just go up there and wave and I just have so much more to give. And I just wish it was better. And she does something that people don't normally do with David. She listens and she really takes in his feelings and his emotions. And she really considers him. And she tells him, well, you know what? Take the money and run and just do what you really want to do. Like, which is simple life advice that nobody ever gives him.
And like, yeah, it just,
she's like, just normal.
It's not that bad. Like, you know, and so on. And yeah.
Yeah. It gives him some perspective and really sees him.
Right.
You know?
Right. And she thinks he's funny. The interviewer asks her, do you like him? And she's like, yeah, well, he was funny, you know? Yeah. And so I think I'll see him again, like, you know, and it, like is perfectly willing to do this. Let's go from there over to Tim and to Dawn there. Mm-hmm. And we go through the party again. There's that chemistry, and then it's like, okay, time to say goodbye. And Tim has said the whole time, I won't ask her.
I'm not going to ask her again. Like, that's the joke because now he's done it twice. And Gareth brings it up again when he announces in the first episode that Dawn and Lee are going to be coming back. He's like, and don't ask her to go out with you again, Tim, because she's already said no twice. Like, in front of the whole office, just humiliating Tim again. Right. And it's kind of a running joke at this point.
Yeah. And he says she would have to ask me. And he has the realization, though, and I do love him having the realization. She'd have to ask me. That's not going to happen. Like, you know, and it just like is like, oh, I was just wrong. That won't happen. That's not a thing that's going to be there. But in any case, so they go through the party. They've got this chemistry. You're waiting for it to happen. You're like, come on, you know, you've got to make the move, and nobody does.
No, and they kind of spend a lot of time in these specials establishing that Dawn and Tim, even though 3 years have passed and they've been oceans apart, that they really are still in the same place. Like when Dawn comes back to visit the office before the Christmas party, Gareth is like pretty condescending because he's up on his high horse because now he has like the boss position. But he says like, you know, if you're struggling, you know, you're no spring chicken. I can get you a job.
Yeah, right.
I'm really glad you gave up that pipe dream of being an artist or whatever, you know, and like it kind of is like a mirror up to Dawn's face, like, okay, like you're right. I guess I'm not fucking doing anything. And, you know, once we get back to them at the party, the guy from the warehouse, I think that might be Monkey Allen. We're never actually sure who Monkey Allen is.
I was wondering if that was revealed or if you never see Monkey. Monkey's just always sort of over there.
His name is always mentioned in the series, but he is never credited or shown.
So he could
be Monkey Allen. We don't know.
He's Tino from My So-Called Life. Everybody is always going to Tino's or just come back from Tino's or
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he is, when he blows cigarette smoke in Anne's face and Anne leaves crying, that is where Dawn and Tim finally relax and start laughing again and reconnect on that real level. I mean, they already had previously when Dawn visited the office and they started going at Gareth again, and she drew him the little sketch of him, like she was doodling while he was talking to her, and then Tim sees that it was like a little portrait of himself that she left for him. And then when they're at the party and they reconnect again, there is that same feeling, like so much has changed, but everything is still the same. Mm-hmm. And what I love so much about this Christmas special is that there really aren't many needle drops at all in the series. The series doesn't play any pop music, but there's pop music throughout, breathing throughout this entire episode.
And it's all Christmas songs.
Yes.
Though they
and Keith is the DJ.
Right. They are oddly poignant. Like they pick ones, to illustrate each moment. I can't remember exactly what's happening when Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time comes on, but that's sort of juxtaposed.
That's like the beginning of the Wonderful Christmas Time is like the beginning of everyone kind of hanging out. The lights are still on, like the fluorescents are still on. You see these little kind of party city, like shitty Christmas decorations around the office. Mm-hmm. And everyone, you see Tim kind of eyes glazed over, staring ahead, like holding his solo cup and just waiting for Dawn to show up.
Waiting for this. Right.
Yeah. The anticipation.
And then she does.
Yeah.
And again, and it's going, and then there's a goodbye. Then it's got to get back to Florida. The flight, sorry, got to leave, right away. And they're saying goodbye, and they say goodbye for a really long time. There's just they just keep doing the okay, well, all right, well.
And it is how it is in real life.
All right, yeah, okay, bye. It's that when is it done thing.
The transition is so perfect because they're standing at Dawn's old desk, and Dawn is in her old chair behind the desk, and Tim is leaning over. Gareth comes by to scold Dawn for sitting behind the desk. And then that's where they find their opportunity to fall back into the old habits of making fun of Gareth.
Right.
And then Lee comes and blows up their spot by saying, they're fucking making fun of you. They're saying you're gay. They're talking about you jerking off. And completely just kills the mood and is like, all right, it's time to go. And when Lee says, I'm going to go get your coat, it's time to go say your goodbyes. Dawn comes out from around the desk and are standing and is having this awkward goodbye with Tim, and fucking Want You Back by Take That.
Yeah. By Take That. Oh,
which is, if you don't know, I mean, this is also a throwback, but Robbie Williams, that was his band. That was his boy band.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I always think it's funny when people know Robbie Williams now, and my first thing is always from Take That.
I know. And that song is so beautiful. It's like a breakup song. It's all longing, and it's cheesy.
Okay, to be fair, it contains the line, whatever I said, whatever I did, I didn't mean it. So it's not about a guy coming to realize what he's done wrong and apologizing. It's about a guy going, I'm tired of not fucking you. Please come back here and fuck me.
Yeah, I'll do anything. Please just come back.
That is.
But also, going back to David and Carol, I think also what helped Carol and David have their spark is that Carol mentions she didn't see the documentary.
Right. Yeah. Whereas one of the dates that he was set up on when he's talking to her on the phone, and the first thing he says is, you'll probably recognize me. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Did you see a documentary on BBC Two called The Office? Yeah. You aren't that horrible boss or something, are you? And he's like, what? No. Gotta go.
Yeah. It's so great. It's so great.
Yeah. So again, there's the whole, he wants people to recognize him. He's so desperate for people to have seen him in the show. But of course, anyone who has seen him in the show hates him.
Of course. Because he's a Punisher.
He's not a lovely guy. But so they're saying goodbye.
Yeah, they're saying goodbye. And previously we had seen everybody in the office, absent Dawn and Lee, give each other Secret Santa pics. And the guy whose name is Paul Tim gets his Secret Santa and is immediately disgusted. We know he pulled Gareth without even having to see it.
Right.
And Paul says, do you want to swap? And Tim goes, yes, please.
Yes, yes, please.
And you think and with the way Paul looks at him, like, I know you want to switch with me. You can tell it's John's.
Yeah.
And so Lee goes to get her coat and comes back with her Secret Santa gift. Her and Tim have an excruciating goodbye, just the most excruciating goodbye. And she leaves, and the camera follows her as she walks down. The camera is not following her, but the camera lingers on her as she walks down the long hallway and leaves, and then gets in the car. And it's people opening up Secret Santa now. And Gareth is being a prick and complaining that he got like a little army doll when I specifically said I wanted vouchers or a $10 bill.
I wanted vouchers.
He's like, I specifically said, so whoever got me this,
put a tenner
annoying.
in an envelope.
Yeah, annoying. Like when he's holding his doll.
Annoying.
And Tim gives his absolutely flawless, the best writing to come out of this, maybe the last like 50 years, his speech of his like soliloquy. And he says, the people you work with are just people you were thrown together. You don't know them. It's not your choice. You spend time with them, or you spend more time with them than you do with your friends and family. You really don't have anything in common except that you walk around in the same bit of carpet every day. And Dawn was a light in my life. Like you could tell he woke up every day looking forward to seeing her, not really going to work. And intercut with this speech about life is Dawn in the back seat of the taxi. And they show the taxi, the lights, and then they show Dawn. And as Tim is talking about, if I'm being honest, I never thought that we would have a happy ending. He's like, I don't really know what a happy ending is. Life goes on. Just because you guys turn the cameras off doesn't mean that I go away. Maybe something good will happen to me. Maybe I'll, check back in with me in 10 years. Maybe I'll be married with kids. You don't know, right. Which is so fucking beautiful, because that's how I think of care. When I close a book or when I turn my DVD off, I'm like getting choked up because I fucking love this. I love this fucking speech so much. I think of them that way. Like these people, J.K. Rowling's a fucking asshole, but it doesn't mean Harry Potter isn't burned into my heart, and I desperately every day wish I could have gone to Hogwarts,
Right. Yeah.
This is a life-changing thing. So he's talking about come back and check on me. You never know, life goes on. And Dawn is opening her Secret Santa gift, and it's an oil painting set, and the card is the actual Wernham Hogg letterhead where she doodled Tim's face, and it just says never give up. And you see her get teary-eyed, and you see her wipe a tear away. And they show the shot of the back of the taxi going into the night. And we wait for the brake lights to come on. We wait for the taxi to take a turn. We wait to hear the screech of the tires.
Anything.
And it doesn't happen. They just keep going. And you're like,
keep going.
I mean, imagine me in high school with my fucking Josie and the Pussycats, flipped out Bob, hunched over, scoliosis, staring into this giant Gateway PC monitor that is the size of my fucking balls. Like, it's just this giant cube, and looking at this tiny little pixelated screen, and the brake lights never come on, and the taxi just keeps on going. And then it cuts to everyone just back in the office at the party. And you're like, I have been waiting for this for fucking years, and you're going to tell me that the only guy that gets maybe a happy ending, he's not even getting a happy ending, he's just getting a second date, is David?
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Like,
I was very surprised that David got a happy ending at all, because I was like, that doesn't seem like the reward for being David. Like, I was like, I kind of can't believe the series has decided to reward David this way.
I mean, I wanted David to come out on top because, and only because, they made Neil and Chris such pricks about it. Like, Neil really needled him and was so smug, and David, and was really kicking him while he was down.
This is how different we are. Me watching this, I wanted to see the oil painting set get thrown out of the window of the cab. I wanted to see from behind, just you see the oil painting set just go flying out, and that be it. Savage. I was like, oh my God, please do it. Please
Savage.
fucking just like kill this audience. Just stab them in the eye.
But they have. They have twice. The end of the first season and the end of the second season, they fucking tortured us. And this is the difference between our cultures.
Right.
You know, is that they fucking made us work for it.
Oh, yeah.
And this is also why the fucking series has 2 Golden Globes and a goddamn fucking Peabody Award.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is called, take fucking notes because this is called writing. It's so gut-wrenching. And then you see everybody together at the office again, and they're just, it's Gareth and Tim and David and the trifecta, and they're just sharing beers and just kind of like muttering to each other. And keep in mind, when I'm watching this on a tiny screen within the screen on LimeWire. Like, I did not get a high resolution thing that I could open to fill the whole fucking, to do full screen. I couldn't, yours, it would have looked like shit. So I'm watching this in what is basically the original QuickTime settings, and Yaz, All I Needed Was You is playing, which fucking lit song. I don't know if you haven't heard Yaz, All I Needed Was You, fucking download it. It's so beautiful. You see David and Carol, like, they do a little montage of David and Carol dancing, and then David walks Carol out, and she says that she had a nice time, and David goes in for like a hug, and she actually gives him the double cheek kiss, and you can see like, oh, like he's so surprised. And then you get back upstairs and everybody's hanging out, and you think you're supposed to be focusing on whatever it is that David and Gareth and Tim are talking about, and the camera's just on them. And then the camera focus changes to the way background, and you see Dawn come out of the hallway. I'm fucking crying again. You see Dawn come out of the hallway, and she, like, the camera's on her, and she walks right up, pushes Tim's shoulder aside, and just fucking kisses him. And they have their kiss. And they've kissed before. They did have a brief kiss, but this is like the kiss. And Gareth says, careful now, she has a fiance. And she says, not anymore. And then they walk away.
She puts so much emotion into those 2 words when she says not anymore. Like,
Not anymore, yeah.
It's full.
And her back is straight, and she's making fucking dead eye contact. Because normally Dawn, her head is always down, and she's always looking up, like, you know, trying not to be looked at, trying not to look, always within herself. And she looks fucking fabulous. She's got a fucking great tan. She's got a sparkly shirt instead of just a fucking drab and the straightened, damaged bangs. You know, like, she looks fucking great while still looking like a normal fucking, like, office worker. It's so beautiful. And then the show ends with all of them taking a picture, and David asks, can we just get one of the old crew of the original workers together? And David's cracking jokes, and people are really laughing at his jokes. And he is just at a 10. It's like, it's just bliss. It's just bliss that his friends are laughing with him, and he's quoting he's doing a terrible, like, impersonation of a quote from a ubiquitous TV show or whatever. And they're taking picture together, and they just, like, you're like, I can't believe they're really letting us have it. I was in hysterics at this point when I watched this, when I was like 18, 19, whatever. I was like, my full ugly crying, sobbing. And then it ends with all of them together, and it was just so beautiful. I'm like, I can't believe they let us have this. I can't believe, what a gift.
And it feels very much like it was definitely an actual gift. I mean, like, again, it's literally set at Christmas. Yeah. And it was like full on, like, we could have just let it go.
I think that this is really how they wrote the story. And I mean, not everybody gets a happy ending. There's an ancillary character named Sheila who has a crush on Oscar, who is, quote, the office black guy.
Oh, the office black guy. Yeah.
And you always see her kind of leering at him. And there is a moment where they're all talking about their preferences at the end of season 2. And they're like, do you like a guy with a sense of humor? Do you like a guy who's handsome? She's like, I like blacks. And and Oscar's sitting right next to her, and it's just like, Jesus, like, totally just fucking pet, like, just getting hit with microaggressions all over the fucking place.
Oh, yeah.
This poor guy.
Yeah.
But then, like, at the end of the Christmas party, you see Oscar making out with Trudy, and I think he's making out with Trudy, and then you see Sheila crying to another one of the girls in the office, like, devastated. So it doesn't end well for everyone. Like,
the last thing I want to ask you then, Why was this your favorite episode?
I mean, for all the reasons we talked about, because they had punished us so much. They made us work for it. And the series doesn't end with a fucking celebrity cameo. You don't get, Will Ferrell walking on set, or, James Spader, or a big special where they all go on a boat, or they all go to Disney World, or they all go to Hawaii. Like, a traditional American sitcom where they have this big splashy ending. No one dies. Mm-hmm. It's life as usual in Slough, which is miserable and mediocre and kind of the most that a lot of people can hope for or dream about. And it's not really, the show is like kind of makes David Brent the main character, but really the heart and soul are Dawn and Tim.
Yeah.
I love the idea that you can write. I couldn't believe that you could write something that is only this long, that is only 12 episodes, and then walk away from it. Like, it's not just about this endless thing to stay employed forever and ever. It's not fucking Grey's Anatomy, you know? Like, it is, this is what you're getting. This is what it's like. It's like books. It's like, I was a bookworm growing up. I was like a voracious reader as a kid. Like, I couldn't get enough. And it's like, you close the book and the story is over. And then you get to imagine what happens to these people. Like Dawn and Tim, like, they're not going to get married right away. She's just been engaged for fucking 5 years, Right. Like, and is she going to come back to the office? No, maybe Tim says, I want you to follow your dream. I want you to take a graphic design class, and I want you to fucking, get a job in the design world. Like, you can imagine all of these things and all of these scenarios. And the main message at the very end is, and keep in mind, this is fucking 2003. 2 years before this, I sat in my fucking acting classroom with the rest of the sophomores and Mr. Sims, God rest his soul. And we watched the fucking planes crash into the towers and the fucking Trade Center collapse. Right. Shit was bleak, bitch. Yeah. Those were the goddamn fucking Bush years, bitch. Yeah. And even as a kid without the right to vote, I knew that we were fucked.
Oh, yeah.
And to have a show not only say, no, we're not going to be on forever and ever and ever. This is how I'm doing it. This is my dream to write this specific show. The theme and the overall like takeaway is hope. Like maybe you're not going to be selling. Maybe you're not going to paint the first portrait of First Lady Michelle Obama, but maybe you can take a graphic design class and just do what you love instead of answering a phone every day.
Right. Yeah.
Because when you're a kid, everyone's like, you can be whatever you want and you just got to chase your dream and blah, blah, blah. But when I started comedy, I didn't start comedy till I was 30 because my whole life I heard that that's not a real fucking job.
Oh, yeah.
And that you have to have a fucking backup. That did not work for me. And when I started getting really good at comedy, I was like, I don't have an HBO special and I'm still working my day to day, but this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. And I found something to get me out of fucking bed every day. And I think at the end of the day, that's like literally the most we can hope for at this point.
So that's a beautiful.
Sorry, I just went on like a whole diatribe.
No, that was the diatribe. That's what we want. That's the thing that we're looking for. I thank you so much for coming on here, Tara.
Thanks for having me.
This was really, really. Thanks for sticking it out. This is.
I knew it would be like this. I knew it.
But yeah,
I got a ton in the pipeline. I still want. It was really hard. It was really hard to narrow down what TV show we were going to do because I had a lot. My first thought was to do the Carnival Freak Show episode of X-Files.
Oh, well, we all
I've never watched an X-Files ever.
X-Files with the Puzzle Man and
Bitch. Are you fucking kidding me?
I've never watched an X-Files.
Oh, wow.
It was one of the weird things.
Somebody eventually is going to pick an X-Files.
I'll see you in a couple weeks for X-Files.
But thank you guys so much. This was so much fun, and I will see you all in the near future.